What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the weekly LeoFinance AMA. Currently riding solo. Mitch had a last minute thing, and he should be on in like the next 15 minutes or so. Yeah, we got a hard stop at 1 p.m. today, so just gonna kick it off myself. These announcements out. Jump into the Leo updates for the week. I feel like my free BTC is always the first one in the AMA chat. Welcome. Yeah, we've been getting a lot of good questions on threads lately. So if you've been asking questions on threads, definitely keep that up. Let's see here. All right. Hello, my free BTC. Welcome. What's up, Morty? Welcome. We're just getting set up. Mitch will be here in probably like 10 minutes now. See what he says. All right. While you guys get your questions ready, I'll jump into the weekly updates. So, you know, usually we start with the social stuff. So with threads, we've been working on this really big performance update that'll bring a lot more than just performance. It'll bring pretty much a whole new way for loading content on the UI. So since the launch of threads, we've basically seen this explosion in activity on LeoFinance, which has caused kind of cascading failures in terms of scalability, which is actually what we expected. But obviously something that you can't exactly develop in a proactive way for until it's kind of a real world issue. So a big focus of ours has been rolling out threads and then working on these performance updates. So this next update will basically change the entire way that threads and other content on LeoFinance is loaded, and it'll make it, you know, ridiculously faster. So we've been working on it in closed alpha, and I've been testing it, and it looks really good. Basically, like, and if you've been using threads, I'm sure you've noticed that when you refresh the page or load a new page or even click on a thread, sometimes it'll take, you know, 30 seconds to a minute to load the page. And obviously that's not a good user experience. I think if it takes anything longer than 5 seconds, people will start to kind of close out and exit threads if they're not, you know, a core LeoFinance user. So obviously to cater to those external users, we need to have a good user experience. And this next update will definitely, you know, bring what we're looking for, which is, you know, that 5 second or less loading time. So we basically had this list of like 30 items about 30 different bugs and also performance, you know, basically performance tweaks. And that list is almost done. Looks like there's about 9 things left on the list before we're ready to push the update. So once we push that update, you'll see that Threads is just going to be a radically different experience. It's going to be awesome. And like I said, we're testing it in closed alpha, and then we'll roll it out to production for everyone to test. But this is kind of the big update I've been waiting for. Once it goes live, I think we'll be definitely a lot more better prepared for the masses to join, and you know, the entire Threads framework will be a lot more scalable. So this is probably going to be the biggest update so far since the launch of Threads. Also with this update, you'll see we're going to add the profile page for Threads, and then also an explore page for Threads. So you'll be able to see, you know, people you're following and what threads they're creating and interacting with. And then after that, we're going to see the Leo mobile update, which will include Threads. So in case you missed it, there was a post from LeoFinance last week that talked about the Leo mobile update. So we integrated the new version of Lightning that we created for Threads into the Leo mobile app. So a lot of people were having issues with mobile app. And if you weren't having issues and you were able to get it to load, it would load extremely slowly. That was because it was using the old version of Lightning. Now it's on the same version of Lightning as Threads. So if you've been using the mobile app lately, since that update, you'll notice it's super fast. So that was a pretty big rollout for us. The next mobile update will be the actual Threads integration. So that's kind of the social side where everything's been focused. It's obviously very heavily focused on Threads right now. On the DeFi side, what's up, Nifty Phil? On the DeFi side, we've been working on the CUB variable staking contract. So obviously it was about a month ago that the BHBD and Hive multi-token bridge was launched. So that's pretty huge for CUB. If you read that PolyCUB monthly report, you'll see, it generates, PHBD and Hive generate a lot of revenue for PolyCUB. So now that whole revenue setup is available for CUB, and it's been burning CUB. The last I saw it, let's see if I can pull it up. So I believe when we started the bridge, it was there was about 500,000 CUB burned since the launch of CUB. And since then, that number has grown. It's, as of today, it's 624,000 CUB that's been burned. So we burned basically 120,000 CUB in the last month so far, just from the multi-token bridge revenue. And I put out the projection that it's going to be 200,000 for the month of August. So we'll have burned 200,000 CUB for the month of August, which is basically almost half of the amount of CUB that we burned since the launch of CUB, which includes, Kingdom's fees and the IDO, if you guys remember the Cake Pop IDO that burned like 200,000 CUB on its own. So the multi-token bridge is generating a pretty ridiculous amount of revenue and burning CUB. And at these prices, it's a disproportionate amount of CUB tokens. So this month it'll be 200,000. Next month, I think it'll be a lot higher than that. And then, it should keep growing. And then obviously when the CUB price starts to go up, the amount of tokens that it burns will be less, but the value should be more, as the multi-token bridge revenue continues to grow, because it's obviously in dollars. So I'm looking forward to seeing, a couple million CUB get burned before the price starts to really go up. So if you are thinking about buying CUB, don't buy too much at least until the multi-token bridge does its work and burns a bunch of the inflation that we saw over the last 12 months. I think it's a great move for sustainability to get a lot of these CUB tokens off the market. So there's 17 million CUB out there right now. 624,000 have been burned. That number should be over 700,000 by the time that August CUB report comes out, and then hopefully next month we could potentially see 1 million CUB burned if we burn 300,000 CUB over the course of September. So let's see what happens. And then that variable staking contract, I'm not sure when we're going to have it done. I think the contract will be ready by the end of this week, if I had to guess. And then, obviously we've got a little bit of work to do to test it and then integrate it in the UI. I think if I had to guess, hopefully next Friday we'll see the variable staking contract. Obviously that's a Sooniverse timeline. Yeah, that variable staking contract is very cool. If you've seen what Cake is doing actually on PancakeSwap, they've got a very similar contract. Ours is basically based on that framework. And essentially what it does is, I think it's super cool. We're going to be replacing the Cub Kingdom with this new variable staking contract. So it'll look a lot like this. I'll drop a screenshot for everybody on Discord. It'll look a lot like this, where you can basically lock up your Cub tokens, and you get to choose how long you can lock it up for. So right now you could consider that the Cub Kingdom is a flexible APY. So essentially you can stake and unstake your Cub from the Cub Kingdom whenever you want. There's no time lock. There's nothing there. With this new contract, you'll be able to still stake your Cub in a flexible contract if you want to basically be able to remove it whenever you want. But the APY on flexible staked Cub is going to be pretty low, probably similar to what Cake is, like 3%. So it'll be like a low single digit percentage for staking your Cub in a flexible manner. But then you can lock your Cub for up to 52 weeks. And the longer you lock it, the higher the APY gets. So basically what the contract is doing is it earns a certain amount of the inflation every day from the Cub that's generated per block. So there's one Cub generated per block on Binance Smart Chain. And a percentage of that is going to that Cub Kingdom. And then from that percentage, that total pool of Cub, it's basically, non-linearly distributed to people who stake Cub. So obviously the longer you stake, the more of that percentage you can get. So it's a pretty cool setup. And if you look at the way it's working on Cake, it's extremely interesting. So the average lock duration on Cake is 39 weeks. So we can pretty much assume that most people will be staking for several months at a time, staking their Cub, and obviously earning high APY. So right now, the APY for doing that, if you stake your Cake for 52 weeks, you're earning 65% APY. So we're kind of expecting similar numbers on the Cub Kingdom. So you'll probably be able to stake your Cub and earn something like 40 to 60% APY if you do it for a whole year. And then obviously the APY will come down the lower amount of time that you do, less than 52 weeks. It's a pretty complex contract, but we're almost done with it. So I'm definitely excited to see that out on Cub. And, that in conjunction with the multi-token bridge, burning hundreds of thousands of Cub every month, I think it's going to be a pretty cool combination to see in action. The focus right now is growing these multi-token bridge pools. So right now, BHBD Cub has 72,000 in liquidity. Hive Cub has 85,000, and BHBD BUSD has 130,000. So we, working together, we can build out the liquidity on these pools, which will generate more revenue through wrapping fees and Oracle staking. So I'm excited to see how that all plays out. I think there's and I've put out threads and tweets about this, but I think there's a critical mass in terms of liquidity on Cub. And once we reach that critical mass, it's kind of like this tipping point where that liquidity will continue to generate revenue, and the multi-token bridge will keep growing. So we kind of need to see, it's almost like a rocket launch. We need to see, that velocity reached. And once we do, it's, they call it escape velocity for rockets. And I think once we reach escape velocity, which is basically just a certain amount of liquidity, we'll see Cub kind of take off in a whole different direction than it has been. And really that whole calculation, obviously we don't really know what it is, but the whole calculation is centered around if there's, right now there's basically like around 300,000 in multi-token bridge liquidity on Cub. So if that number was, 600,000 or $1 million, the idea is that we'll see so much wrapping activity because the amount that you could trade when liquidity is deeper is a lot higher. The whole idea is that once you see that high level of trading volume and wrapping activity, it's gonna really take it to new heights in terms of Cub burned every single month. the fact that we burned 200,000 CUB in the first month of the multi-token bridge is pretty insane, because that's obviously like half of all CUB that was burned since the beginning of CUB, which was what, actually like pretty much exactly 18 months ago. So 1 month outweighed 50% of 18 months worth of burning. So it's pretty crazy. And then, next month, I'd like to see 300,000 CUB get burned and kind of keep growing from there. Let's see what we got questions wise. Addicted saying everyone's copying Hex. Yeah, everyone's going for time locks these days, because if you're not providing, like let's say taking your CUB and depositing it in the kingdom is not very valuable for the ecosystem, because it's not, you're not providing liquidity and you're not even locking your CUB up. So I think a lot of DeFi platforms have realized that if you're not providing liquidity, then you should be buying and locking the asset, because that's how you can provide value, because you're essentially taking liquidity off the market. So you should either be providing liquidity or you should be removing liquidity from the circulating supply, which is locking it up. So yeah. MyFreeBTC said, I posted these questions on Threads. Can you give us an update on PolyCUB lending? Will it be deployed before the end of the year? Yeah, we're still working on the collateralized lending protocol, which will be deployed on PolyCUB and CUB. And essentially it'll essentially let you take out loans against your X PolyCUB and Vex PolyCUB. And then on your CUB kingdom, it'll let you take out loans against it too. And then also your CUB LPs. So the way that CUB will work will be slightly different than PolyCUB, but you'll essentially be able to take out loans against your multi-token bridge LPs. So if you're in the BHBD CUB or Beehive-CUB or BHBD BUSD, you'll be able to take out a loan against those LPs in the form of BHBD on CUB, and then on PolyCUB, obviously it'll be in PHBD. But yeah, the lending protocol is really interesting. It's essentially another way to generate a ridiculous amount of revenue every single month for CUB and PolyCUB. And that revenue is obviously, buying back PolyCUB and then distributing it to Vex PolyCUB. And then if you're looking at CUB, it's buying back CUB and burning it. So yeah, you'll be able to lend against Vex PolyCUB and X PolyCUB. MyFreeBTC. Nifty asked on Threads, can we get a CUB burn ticker on Threads UI? That's a good idea. Potentially, yeah. I'd like to put I was actually talking to the dev about putting a chart on the CUB UI showing the burns over time. So like you could see over the last 18 months since CUB launched, you would be able to see that 500,000 CUB was burned and when it was burned, kind of in that timeline. And then you would kind of see this huge tick up, because if we had a good chart of the burns, then you'd see that huge tick up over the last month. So yeah, I want to add some sort of better tracking for the burns. Even if someone created, and maybe this is a call to action for someone in the community, if someone even created like a simple JavaScript website that had the CUB burns and maybe some CUB statistics on how much is getting burned every single day, that might be cool. And then projected burns based on previous burns. I'm planning on putting a dev on it once we get a little bit of free time after the variable staking contract. But if anyone wants to take charge and build a simple kind of simple JavaScript website, it doesn't have to even look pretty, but Splinterlands has a lot of people that do stuff like that, like the Splinter Cards index. So maybe someone can pull some inspiration from something like that and build a CUB burns and buybacks statistics website, and then we can basically just framework that into Threads and the CUB UI. That might be cool. It would definitely save us some dev time. That's your MyFreeBTC. What else we got? I think I'm caught up on Threads questions. Colas 290 wants an AMA in Spanish. My Spanish is decent, but I don't know if I could do a whole AMA in Spanish. But maybe if I co-host one with a Nomad Soul, we could do one in Spanish. That might be fun.
every week. I could work on my Spanish then too.
Mitch is joining right now.
What it is.
What else we got? Yeah, and I mean, kind of on that similar kind of question thread. A Nomad Soul has been working on Leo TV, which is basically an idea that we could have live shows every single day. They're saying Mitch is not on push to talk.
Yeah, it makes no sense though, because
I think your audio might be on your desktop.
yeah, I just fixed it. I don't need no sneaking push to talk.
I can't hear you, Mitch. We can't hear you, Kat. Oh, you can hear him? How can I not hear him?
Do you hear me or no?
Hello?
How about now?
Oh, now I can hear you.
Makes no sense, but yeah,
Interesting.
this is what happens when you start without me.
Yeah, we got a little hard stop at 1. So I basically just covered the Leoverse stuff. So we got that out of the way. Now we can maybe just do some general crypto stuff. I've been answering a few questions. But yeah, Nomad Soul has been working on Leo TV. Yeah. Nomad Soul has been working on Leo TV, and that's basically, we'll see, you know, some new shows, and basically like we've got the weekly AMA every Tuesday, and then what we're going to start seeing is like other shows scheduled on different days. So like on Wednesday, you'll have a different show for the Leoverse, and so it'll be cool. And we're sponsoring some people to host them. So maybe Mitch will do his own show one day of the week, and you know, kind of build out our own little Leoverse TV network, and we'll see how we can build it. Yeah, Nifty. So Nifty and Nomad Soul have their own show on Friday nights, and they basically drink beer and talk about crypto. So if you haven't tuned into it yet, you should. I tuned into the first one. I think I missed last week. But
And where is it that people find this?
it is on it's on Twitter. I'm laughing at Tony's comment. He said, I think Cat is a playback. That's kind of funny.
I'm a simulation. Let's see, there was some good PolyCUB talk. Excuse me.
Yep.
What will be able to land against Vex PolyCUB? I missed all the good answers here. So one thing that popped up during the week was I had done a post about you know, crypto investing in general, and like, you know, kind of seeking alpha, right? Outside of, you know, just holding top 10, top 20 coins, you know, and this has come up, I think, on prior calls. And I said in the comments of the post, I'd bring it up in the AMA, which a few people wanted me to. So with communities, and I don't know if it was in a prior AMA or maybe back even roundtable days, we talked about like kind of creating this like crypto alpha, you know, kind of space where people can drop in projects they're looking at. So, you know, nothing materialized. So I think it's a matter of just finding someone that's willing to mod a community. And, you know, obviously there can be a better name than Crypto Alpha, but that's just what I thought of off the top of my head.
Leo Alpha.
Or Leo Alpha, yeah. And I just think it's a good way for, you know, everyone to have a specific location to talk about projects they're looking at, you know, and it's specifically designed for, you know, finding coins that haven't blown up yet, you know, and promising projects.
Yeah, I would love to see a Leo. We can definitely add that. Yeah, we basically just need a mod or a couple mods to lead it. I know JK, you know, kind of headed up the Leo Alpha initiative. he's got a Twitter account for Leo Alpha, and
Oh, nice.
and so it'd be cool if he modded the community, and then we had a couple other people jump in as mods, and people just posted about, crypto alpha and trading alpha and all sorts of stuff like that. And then obviously the Leo Alpha account could tweet out all the links back to those LeoFinance articles showing, crypto alpha. Because I think Leo Alpha has a lot of untapped potential in terms of bringing in outsiders to LeoFinance, because the LeoFinance, the whole idea behind LeoFinance is really that we can come together and find alpha in the crypto space and outside of the crypto space, and just kind of discover alpha and share it and talk about it. Probably one of my best trades in my career as an investor is Rune, and I discovered Rune through Neil and Shanghai-preneur and actually JK on the LeoFinance UI. And back, if you go way back to when I started LeoFinance, that was the entire mission, was to create seeking alpha for the crypto space, Web3 seeking alpha. So I would love to see more activity in that direction. And now that we've built out, a lot of my time has gone into building out the frameworks for this stuff, like threads and community pages. So I would love to see more activity from the community in actually, utilizing those tools and building out, Leo Alpha and other ideas like it. So it sounded like JK is going to be the first mod and Scaredy Cat Guide is going to be the second. Then we just need a couple more jump in there.
Shit, I have a paid crypto opportunity that I'm considering not even taking. So
you just volunteered for the community page, right?
Bandwidth is a thing. I did not. I will be a lovely participant and occasionally drop a project that I'm researching. I am kind of maxed out. No, I'm sure there's plenty of people in the community that would potentially want to mod. In fact, I'm thinking of somebody. It's actually one of the people that made, the comment about being excited about a community like that. And
yeah, send them my way.
Someone regular's pretty active. What is it? Oh my God, my brain. Aces on top. I think that's the username.
Yeah, he's very active.
Yeah, I follow him. Nifty's gonna mod the shitcoin section. Perfect.
Perfect. Tom Hall on Threads asks when reports like the PolyCUB report for Leo ads and Cub. The first Cub report should be out in the next couple of days for the month of August. So you'll see we burned about 120,000 Cubs so far, which is pretty crazy. And the projection that I've got shows that we're going to burn 200,000 Cub for the month of August. And then based on like recent activity, because actually a lot of people have been wrapping HBD and Hive over to BSC lately. We've been seeing some really healthy activity in terms of people using the bridge and providing liquidity on Cub for those pools. Based on that, I think we're going to see well over 300,000 Cub get burned in the month of September. So that'll actually put us at over 1 million Cub being burned since the beginning of Cub, which means that my initial projection that the first 2 months of multi-token bridge will burn more Cub than the entire existence of Cub before that. So if we burn 300,000 Cub in September, it'll fulfill that vision, and then obviously every month hopefully grow that number. 1 million Cub burned out of 17 million is pretty crazy. So what happens when it's 5 million and more? So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see how much revenue is being generated. There's only about 300,000 in those pools. And, public service announcement, if you're listening to this, you should go out, and if you're not providing liquidity, you should go out and provide liquidity, because the APYs are still pretty ridiculous for multi-token bridge on Cub. I feel like we haven't really done a whole lot of marketing yet to get people on Hive to realize that. But, you can stake Hive over on Cub and earn over 50% APY. HBD, you can earn over 50% if you do the BHBD Cub pool, or if you just want to sit in stable coins, you can get, over 26% APR, which comes out to 30% APY on BHBD BUSD. So it's pretty cool. And then obviously if the Cub price goes up long term, those APYs are going to skyrocket.
Exactly. So hashtag
kind of a nice
add to the pools.
self-balance. Yeah, hashtag add to the pools. It's kind of a nice self-balancing system on Cub, because with that fixed inflation rate, it's actually really interesting that as that liquidity in the multi-token bridge grows, obviously the APRs go down if the price stays the same. But as that liquidity grows, the revenue generated by the Cub multi-token bridge actually buys and burns Cub every month, which could slowly grind the Cub price higher, since it kind of creates that permanent buyer. So basically, if you looked at it like a chart, as the total value locked of multi-token bridge assets goes up, the revenue of multi-token bridge goes up, which means that the Cub burning goes up. And as that burning goes up, potentially the price goes up and the APRs increase, and then you can get more assets in the multi-token bridge, and it kind of creates that self-feeding system, which is what I keep talking about in terms of like an escape velocity for Cub, which is, if you can reach that critical mass of multi-token bridge liquidity and see, hundreds of thousands of Cub getting burned every single month, then, in my opinion, that critical mass is when so much Cub is being bought and burned every month that it's a surplus essentially in terms of how much Cub is getting burned versus how much Cub is getting issued. And that's kind of like our, once those 2 points meet each other, that's our escape velocity for Cub. So I've actually never been so bullish for Cub. I think it's really, I think this whole multi-token bridge thing is the game changer we're all looking for. And the Cub burns are obviously gonna show it. So I keep saying don't buy too much Cub yet. Let the burns buy the Cub cheap.
I'm just letting it stack. My snowball is large and just continues to grow. But yeah,
Smart.
adding to the bridge is basically bullish for Cub. I added a little more late last week, not a lot, but whatever I had to put in there, and I'll do that again as my Cub builds and my Hive builds. The Beehive pool is my friend.
Pool early, pool often. Someone said that.
Pretty much. I mean, multiple benefits. My free PT said next PolyCUB halving block should be right around the corner.
Yeah, it should be soon. I haven't looked up the exact block from the contract lately, but yeah, it's usually right around this time, beginning of the month.
Loving those APRs on the Cub Hive related pools, which I'm sure will go down a little bit as people pool. But then when we hit that saturation point where burns become essentially our own built-in Fed,
right?
It should not only support the price but potentially help inflate it.
Yeah, I mean it's really interesting. Like every day there's 28,000 Cub created. So I've been running the math on this. If you do the math, 28,000 Cub created at the current price of 2.1 cents is $588 per day, which is $17,000 a month. If you read the PolyCUB report last month, PolyCUB generated $11,000 in multi-token bridge revenue, and that's a mixture of wrapping fees, Oracle staking, and arbitrage. So, and PolyCUB, I believe, had $500,000 in multi-token bridge total value locked. So Cub has 300,000 right now, which means that once we reach 500,000, assuming that things are equal, which they obviously aren't always equal, but assuming that they're even close to each other, the multi-token bridge revenue will be $11,000 for Cub once we reach 500,000 in TVL for the multi-token bridge. Right now we're at 300,000. So essentially, if we can double that liquidity, we'll see over $11,000 in monthly revenue for Cub. And being that $17,000 a month is being issued in terms of liquidity rewards, we're getting pretty close to that critical mass figure. So if you assume a lot of things being equal, then the critical mass figure is probably something around 750,000 to $850,000 in multi-token bridge liquidity. So that would be close to tripling the liquidity for Beehive, BHBD, or for Beehive and BHBD. Obviously those three different pools. So if we can triple that liquidity, then we could outpace the amount of Cub that's being issued. And then if let's say that conservatively the multi-token bridge can reach $1 million in liquidity. So right now it's at 300,000 on Cub. We need to triple it to get to $1 million. If you consider that at $500,000 on PolyCUB, in terms of TVL, generated that 11,000, then $1 million should generate over 20,000 a month on Cub. So over 20,000 a month means that more value is being created and captured by Cub than is being issued in terms of liquidity rewards. And some people may wonder if that's actually sustainable and possible, because how could you be paying less money than is being generated by the protocol? But it is actually possible, because it's not really a linear equation, because the more liquidity that gets added to these pools, the more the wrapping fees become. And basically the wrapping fees have no relevance to the APR that's being paid on Cub. So like if you're paying 20% APR on Cub, it doesn't mean that you can only generate 20% wrapping fees. Wrapping fees can be generated at any rate that they want to be generated at. And a lot of that comes down to the liquidity in the pools and the volatility of Hive and HBD. So we've seen some good volatility in the last couple months for Hive and HBD, which has generated a lot of wrapping fees and a lot of arbitrage opportunities. So that figure is exponential. So actually, if you look at 500,000 in TVL on PolyCUB and potentially $1 million in TVL for the multi-token bridge on Cub, I think the revenue won't just be double; it'll be exponentially higher, because the arbitrage and wrapping fees grow exponentially. They don't grow linearly. So what excites me is the potential of having that liquidity. But really the key right now is to get the liquidity. It's been growing, but it's been slow growing. But that's also fine. It's like I keep saying, it's actually kind of nice to have it grow slowly, so that we can kind of let those Cub burns build up and keep buying back at this low price. I think it's actually healthy for the ecosystem for Cub to be, for the Cub price to be suppressed, so that a lot of that inflation that we created over the last 12 to 18 months can get eaten up by the multi-token bridge, and then we can kind of have a clean slate to keep growing from there. So kind of a nice little launch pad for that escape velocity.
Indeed. Playing catch up on the chat. You guys talking about some good stuff. Carlos wants an AMA in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I answered that one. I said my Spanish isn't that good, but it's decent. I could, maybe with a Nomad Soul, we could do a little Spanish AMA.
There you go.
I'd be struggling a little bit, but I think I could do it.
Someone send Cal Rosetta Stone. Get the practice.
I like Duolingo.
Yeah, Duolingo.
Yeah.
I don't even know you spoke a little Spanish. That's cool. You think I would live in South Florida all these years, but nope. I'm just a dumb, lazy American speaking English.
Yeah, I always loved Spanish. And then whenever I need like a week to kind of recharge, I always go to Mexico because it's pretty close. So
Yeah.
just go
You and a lot of
get
other
myself a
people.
nice little week to recover in Cancun or something.
Yeah. I think my brother went to Tulum like 3 times this year.
Yeah, I went to Tulum last year. It was awesome. I love Tulum.
I like it. You could always do a Leo roundtable Spanish version.
That would be
You and
fun.
you and a Nomad Soul. It's not the one. It's not a terrible idea. It's actually a pretty decent idea. We probably need more of because that's such a great potential source of community. Just Spanish speaking community.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so prevalent, especially in the States. I mean, so that's the thing too. As far as community pages go, do you think, because anyone that's been on LeoFinance for a hot minute, I mean, if you look through, especially depending on the timing of the day, you'll see that like there's a lot of people posting in German. It's a lot of people posting in Spanish. So do you think it makes sense? Like we talk about communities as far as, oh, bringing on like whatever, a rune community or whatever. But do you think it makes sense to actually create communities for, other languages? Like, Spanish Leo community.
Yeah, I mean, really, the community pages come down to who wants to run them.
Yeah.
The framework allows us to have as many as we want. I mean, we could have 10,000 community pages.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've spent a lot of time on threads lately, but the community pages are basically governed by a GitHub config that we can just keep adding new community pages to. So, if people want like a German Leo community page, they can do that, and it'll be all curated by whatever moderators they want to set. I think that's a great idea. I mean, we really just need people to kind of step up into those roles and take over the pages and make sure that, content is getting created and curated for the page. Because if you look at some of the community pages we've launched with so far, like Thorchain, even, there's not that much content being created and there's not that much content being curated. So, you look at that Thorchain page and like the last 20 posts are by one user on the page, which is also fine, but it just goes to show that there's not enough content being created about that topic, and there's also not enough content being curated on that topic. So
Yeah.
you need active mods and you need active community members to make a community page actually be vibrant and used. Because if it's not getting used, you'll see the content just kind of looks old and
Yep.
it's not nearly as appealing.
Well, I mean, you got to get the word out in a way. Like, really, I think to have success with a community page is you probably need at least like 3 people that are kind of amped up about it and are not only creating content, but obviously, 1 or 2 of them are modding, and then they spread the word. Because like, case in point, I'll sadly admit I can't even remember the last time I went on a community page. Like, all I do is I go to my feed, I go to the main page, and that's it. My feed's got, the people that I want to follow, and I'll add people here and there. But leveraging the community pages makes sense, especially even like a rune page, to help stay in the loop. That's why I think like a language-based community page will definitely have more success, because now it's not so much a single topic. It's just like, hey, I basically write in Spanish, I read in Spanish, I prefer to do that. Or even if you're doing, a lot of people do like both. They post it in Spanish and English. Either way, that's more of a default. You know what I mean? Like, as opposed to like, all right, I want to, read up and talk about rune. This is like, well, I'm doing any topic. It's just that I'm doing it in another language. So, yeah, ideally, there's somebody out there that wants to start the Spanish-speaking community page. And I think a German one would definitely get traction. Like I said, there's a lot of people that post on LeoFinance in German, and a lot of good content. And I only know that because A, they did the hybrid model where they, list it in both languages, or B, I just, can decipher enough out of it from the little bit of German I know from prior life experiences.
Yeah,
But
I just posted
yeah.
I just posted a screenshot and a link to the Splinterlands community page. I feel like that's the one community page that actually gets like pretty good activity in terms of content getting created and content getting curated. So if you look at that page, I mean, there's some really good content in there about Splinterlands, and you can just kind of jump into it and see, you know, you can see a lot of cool stuff. And kind of the potential, the vision of community pages is being fulfilled in that page, I think, where you could go to it on a daily basis and look for good content that's been curated about Splinterlands. So you know that it's high quality content. You don't know that it's not just, you know, shit posts about Splinterlands.
Well, it is no surprise that Splinterlands is one of the most active community pages.
Yep.
You got to
So
find
we just
some
need
others
some
that can
community
be as
pages like
active.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, we talk about like, you know, there was that initial push of people trying to onboard like quote unquote influencers or people, you know, with decent followings on like YouTube and other outlets. But, you know, the thing with that is they, you know, they come over, but they don't have a community here. And like the ideal is like people will follow them over, but those people obviously are either, you know, no Leo power or, you know, would have to buy in, which is good, but it's just tough because, you know, how it sadly is. It's like, well, I can be uncensored and make money here instead of YouTube, but if the money's not coming, you know, quick, and that's not to say, you know, people don't stay with it. I mean, there's a few people that have been onboarded that, you know, they post all their content on LeoFinance as well. That goes onto YouTube and TikTok and all that. I mean, like you know, Wendy O is an example of that I think short segments got over.
Yeah.
And you know, all her content that's on YouTube is getting posted on LeoFinance as well.
Yep.
Mortiz asking about price tickers.
Yeah, you know, one thing I'd love to see is a Cub community page. I think a Nomad Soul has already reached out to me that about it, but I haven't
It's a
gotten
good
into it
idea.
yet. But yeah, but like a Cub and PolyCUB community page where people can obviously organize the content a little bit. Even a Leo community page. I mean, the real idea behind community pages is to segment content and have it be more easily sorted. So that's the real idea behind a community page, is that by kind of segmenting the content, you're creating a better experience for people who want to read about a specific topic or people who want to create content about a specific topic. And then obviously that bigger idea of people who just want to belong to a community about a subtopic, but don't want to be, you know, lost in the lost in the sauce, so to speak, of LeoFinance, which is pretty easy to do since there's so much content being created every day. Yeah, I feel like My Free BTC would be a great moderator for the PolyCUB page. Yeah, Nomad saw there could be 100 community pages. I mean, and there should be. And then obviously one day there should be 1,000. There's no reason not. I mean, look at Reddit, right? Like Reddit is so popular because you've got millions of little subreddits that all kind of added up, and then some people joined. Some of them, like Wall Street Bets, you know, really took off, and you got a lot of users, and you know, that could be how we grow LeoFinance in a really big way. I would really love the Leo Alpha page. I actually would be really excited about something like that. If people who had some sort of alpha, like right now, I've been trading Rune on this latest dip. Like we've dipped down, and maybe this would be a good jumping off point into some general crypto stuff real quick before we jump off of here. But you know, I've been trading Rune and buying a bunch under $2 because I think it's a steal under $2. So, you know, if I could just make a quick post and publish it under the Rune, the Thor Chain community page, and then also the, you know, the Leo Alpha community page, and show people, you know, I think there's some alpha in Rune right now because of some things that they've been developing in terms of new blockchains that they're integrating, and then also, you know, just the fact that the price is so much lower than the market cap value that I believe that it should be. You know, to me, that means that there's alpha in Rune, and I would love to share that on a community page. And, you know, you could just imagine, you know, 100 people sharing alpha like that, and then all the people on LeoFinance jumping in and participating and maybe trading around what they read on there. and then obviously generating a return. That's the whole vision. Yeah, Nifty saying waiting for 69-cent rune to buy. Yeah, I actually bought some at 69 cents way back when. I think my lowest buy on rune was like 20 something cents. That was like one of my first buys. Yeah.
I think 69 was the price I was waiting for. Like when we were dumping on the last dump, we never quite got there. I actually ended up buying some more at 205, which isn't the greatest, but isn't terrible.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to see how low we've gotten. Like, so on Rune, $1.50, right? We dipped down to $1.50 on June 17th. So that was like the big crypto dip. And the last time it was below 150 was January 2021. So I think it's a good buy right now. I don't really see it going too much lower. I mean, obviously whatever happens to the rest of crypto is going to happen to Rune. So yeah, I see it as I think it's going to be a really good trade for me. I actually made a TikTok about it that I'm buying a bunch of Rune right now, and the plan is to, I'll sell most of it. Most of what I'm buying now, at least I'll probably sell my initial investment out when Rune bounces back up. So if we bounce back up to like 250 or something this week or next week or something, when crypto decides to recover, I'll close whatever I put into the trade and then just keep the profits as Rune, deposit into my long-term Rune bank account.
Yeah, good old Rune. I definitely need to keep better track of my overall purchases, because I know I bought some Rune. Like I have a lot of Rune at great prices, but then like it was like, all right, I want my bag to get bigger, and it was so high for so long that I ended up buying some at much higher prices.
Yeah.
In fact, I got to look at the chart to kind of remind me. I think I definitely bought some. Why is my chart taking so long to load? I'm pretty sure I bought some in the low sevens after what was already a big pullback. Yeah, because they spiked up to 12, came back down. Yeah, I remember when it hit like 6.25 area was a support level, and it bounced off of that initially. And I think I ended up buying some at like 705, 710, something like that, and then proceeded to freaking dump all the way down to $3. That didn't really work out so well.
Yeah, I definitely bought some Rune around $10 and not working well, but I've been averaging down, so
yeah, I'm pretty sure I grabbed a little bit at 9 as well after that first pullback. Yeah, I just didn't think, honestly, I didn't think Rune was really going to ever see sub, like $5-6 ever again. I thought it just had like permanently leveled up, but clearly that was wrong. Oh, damn,
I just posted this.
Now.
Yeah. I actually just bought some while we were talking. At $1.85.
Not a bad price.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll buy some more once we're done, I think. I just posted this thread, and then I posted the link in Discord. Maybe we get a little vote going. If there was a BHBD Beehive pool, would you guys provide liquidity to it? I feel like Addicted has talked about this a lot in the past, that he always wanted a Hive HBD pool. Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's any liquidity pool out there like that. For Hive HBD, probably I think there's one on Hive Engine, but obviously this is a little different. And then, the APY would probably be pretty high.
I was gonna say it would kind of need to be high to incentivize, because outside of people that just want to like hold Hive and HBD outright.
Right. I don't think it would actually have to be that high if I were to, try to envision what it would look like, because if you're holding HBD and staking it on chain, you're earning 20%. So that means that if we have a stable coin LP, it kind of needs to be over 20% to be worth putting money into. So, you kind of have that 20% threshold. But if you have an LP that's made up of HBD and Hive, you know, if you stake Hive on chain, you're going to earn like 10 to 12% if you're a good curator and know what you're doing. But then you also have the illiquidity of, you know, a 13-week power down. And then also for the HBD, you have to stake it on chain. You can earn 20%, but you've got the illiquidity of a 3-day power down, which is not good for the HBD pumps that are random. So if you kind of combine those, you know, what does the APR need to be to provide Hive and HBD? You know, I don't know, probably somewhere around 15% if I had to guess, to make it worth it. But then you also get that opportunity where, you know, when Hive and HBD are changing in prices, you're kind of always getting more Hive or more HBD. And some people are going to be fond of that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely good for anyone that, you know, wants to hold Hive and likely, you know, earn a better APR than just from curation.
Yeah. I'd be really interested to see how much interest there is in something like that, because we could definitely deploy it, a Beehive BHBD pool.
I could always put it out to a vote. Although you'd also have to spread the word on that, because I get a feeling like, you know, that could also potentially bring like new users, so to speak, you know, like Hive loyalists, as
Yeah,
opposed to people that are already on. Yeah, as
Mhm.
opposed to people that are already on like Cub or PolyCUB. So you'd
Yeah.
have to definitely get the word out
Yep.
in the Hive world.
Absolutely.
But cool. It is 1:02.
Oh, yeah. We should probably wrap up. I got a call I got to jump into.
Yeah, I got 1,000 things that I'm like attending to while I'm on this call, just emailing left and right.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
about
No,
to
this
make a
was a
phone call.
good short one though.
Yeah, I mean, you know, as far as general crypto market, I don't know. Bitcoin's floating right now at 20,000. Bitcoin dominance is back down near support. So I did a post on this yesterday. I'm like, something's got to give. Either A, you know, alts are going to run, and we're going to break that Bitcoin dominance support, or B, Bitcoin's going to, you know, hold this 20K again, bounce, and maybe you see Bitcoin dominance, you know, rise up a little bit off the, you know, support level that has been holding for the last year plus now. So it should be interesting.
So you think if you had to pick odds, what do you say? Over under 20K by Friday?
Oh, by Friday? I mean, that's just like so literally just straight gambling, because I mean, it could go sideways for the next 3 days.
Yeah,
So,
true.
I mean, I'm going to go with over, which is just more so me saying, like, I guess it's going to hold. So I don't see any major catalysts coming up in the next couple of weeks, right? I mean, we don't got Fed again until what, mid-September? So, you know, unless the stock market completely gets wrecked for some reason, which I mean, it did
Yeah,
get beat up. It did get beat up Friday, and it's down today again.
right.
But Bitcoin's
Why
been
do you think the
maintaining.
market's getting beat up? You think it's all Powell's speech from last week?
Apparently, that was a catalyst. I don't even honestly see what he said. I just been busy, but just based on the chart, I was very surprised at how big the rally was, and it pushed through. You know, like the spies pushed through that 41, like 75 area, which is like a huge support resistance. Like it blasted through that, and then it just like is dumped right back below it, and like just complete technical failure. So, um, I think it's more so it got out of the downtrend, literally looked like we already reversed into an uptrend. It was like almost like a V bottom was going to happen. And I just don't think we're in an environment for a V bottom, like, because right now the Fed's not pumping money, and you know, they're doing the opposite of what they were doing when we V bottom for COVID. Right. So, um, I'm not surprised that it's pulling back again, but I mean, it's still in the end, it's still well off the lows. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we'll see what happens. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it trends back down to the lows or not.
Yeah.
So either way, I expect the market to produce a negative return this year, which my reasoning behind that is it has to happen at some point. You can't be green fucking 85 years in a row.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of, you know, if it's just going to kind of grind sideways, or, you know, who knows, maybe, you know, that 3,600 area on the S&P is the low of the year. I don't know. I personally don't think it is, but anything can happen.
Yep, definitely going to be interesting over the next couple of weeks. I don't know. You always had that September call for the reversal. So
Yeah, I think they're gonna go a quarter point in September. I don't think they're gonna reverse. I think they're still raising.
that might be
But again, it
bullish though. I
depends.
mean, to go from 3/4 of a point to a quarter of
Oh
a
yeah, and I
point.
could be wrong, but if they do a quarter point, that's gonna be super bullish. Again, it all comes down to the inflation numbers that will come out in like a week or so. So
Yeah.
if
Have you been
if
watching
those
gas prices at all?
oh they've cascaded lower,
Mm-hmm.
which is funny.
A good
Someone was
sign.
posting about that. They said they're like, has anyone noticed that the price of gas is cascading lower the months into the midterm elections? Coincidence? Maybe.
I think not.
In fact, I actually like it because I want to see if come December, gas prices start going back up again. That would be hilarious.
Interesting. Interesting.
I don't know if the politicians have that much control, but who knows? Maybe they do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised at how fast it's fallen, which is potentially bullish in terms of inflation numbers. But gas always goes down after summer. Yeah, that's true. People aren't driving as much.
Well, but gas has been going down during the summer. We're in peak
That's
summer, and
also
gas
true.
has
Yeah.
dropped hardcore in July and August.
Yeah.
Like we're down like $1.50 a gallon, like just roughly off the top of my head from what I remember seeing.
I remember, I think the most I paid was like 680
Oh
at a
hell
pump.
no.
Yeah. And yesterday I got gas was 530, I think. So
I think the most I paid was like 550, 560, and I just paid like 409 yesterday.
that's not bad.
I hope you're right, Addicted. I hope it's very low in February. Yeah, supply shock definitely was a thing. Good old economy.
Yep, we'll see. Everything's correlated to macro right now. So
Exactly. And that's the thing too. Like as far as crypto goes, I've already accepted that like, I'm not going to see the prices of my crypto soaring anytime in the very near future. So
right.
I'm like, all right, sweet. I got to wait another 3 years and then I'll be crypto rich. But cool. All right. Well,
Sweet.
always entertaining.
Yeah, it's been a good one. We'll catch you guys next week. It'll be, what day will it be? Where's my calendar?
It will be September.
It
Oh,
will
it'll be
be
the day after
September.
Labor Day.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
6th. So
your
enjoy the
Labor Day
long weekend, everybody.
You Americans. The rest of you folk get to work.
That's funny. Yeah. Yeah. Number go up. Watch that Cub burn number go up. That's definitely going to go up.
Yes, we need that number to go up. Cat wants to
Yep.
not be poor.
I think
Cub
it'll be
go
over
up.
700K in the next 2 days. So let's see.
Buy the Cub, people. Buy the Cub.
Yeah.
I want
But
you
not too
fighting with
much.
the.
Don't buy too
No,
much.
I want
Let
you
the
fighting
burns
with the.
go.
I want the burn bot fighting with you, bidding up the price.
That's funny. All right. See you next Tuesday.
Later, guys.
See ya.